Today we're going to work on building a oak wall cabinet. We're going to kind of follow the way that Norm did his, a couple of little bit different here and there, but for the most part it's going to be very similar to the videos that you saw on what Norm did. Typically when I get started I do what we call a rough sketch. Sometimes we call it a thumbnail sketch. You're just kind of putting your ideas down on, pencil it in so you can erase things, get that fairly refined and where you're going. Then what we like to do is go ahead and get a solid sketch of exactly what we're going to be doing and how it's all going to come together. Basically what I really like to do is I like to get all my dimensions, and I like to put some notes on there to tell myself how I'm going to be building this. Typically we're going to have a top view, a front view, and a right side view. And most of the cabinets that you're going to ever build that's going to give you enough information. If you need to dive a little bit deeper, then you would go to a detail of some sort to get that a little bit closer even. So looking down on top of the cabinet, that would be standing above it looking down. This represents my top. The depth of the cabinet from the wall, here's the wall back here, to the face frame is going to be 12 inches. The width of the cabinet finished is going to be 18, which is a standard size width for a wall cabinet. Remember, they start at 9 and they go in 3-inch increments all the way up. So a wall cabinet 18 inches wide, and your standard stock height of a cabinet is going to be 30 inches high. So I know I'm 12 off the wall, I'm 18 inches wide along the wall, this being the front view right here, and of course now my my total height here is going to be 30 inches. So top, front, right side, you guys will see that more and more as you get into your drafting and your contract drawings. Down here I tell myself that I'm going to use pocket joints. If I was going to be using biscuits, that would probably be about the same, end up being about the same sizes. And my face frame is going to be 2 1/4 inch wide material, 3/4 inch oak. There's our oak wall cabinet, and there's our oak face frame. That all comes together pretty nicely. Those are basically where I'm going to, if I had a different joint, maybe if I had mortise and tenon joints, then that would change some of my dimensions. I would have to make my rails a little bit longer so that I could put my mortises all into them. So 12 inches deep, 18 inches wide, 30 inches high. All that right there in those 3 drawings, I have all that I need to know as far as the construction of this cabinet. So let's move this over. Let's go to our cut list. And basically, you're going to be able to work off of this cut list pretty easily, because you're going to do all your brain work when you're sitting down in a quiet area, so you can visualize it, you can picture it, and then when you get out into the shop, then you're just gonna go through your list here, and you're going to be more of an operator rather than thinking about it. Your concentration will be in the safety of using your machines. So there's my cut list. So for the face frame, I need 2 styles. The styles are going to be going up and down. As we know, they go full height. And here's my 2 styles. And I'm going to need 2 rails. And there's my 2 rails right there. There's styles and rails. 2 1/4 wide. This one's going to be 30 inch. These are 30 inches tall. My rails are going to be 2 1/4 wide, 13 1/2 long. Both of them are 3/4 inch oak plywood. Something we haven't talked about too much, but is going to be critical for wall cabinets as well as your base cabinets, is we do want to think about putting a hanging strip in the back of that so we have something solid that we can run screws through the hanging strip and tie directly into some kind of framing in the wall. Typically we would run into some studs, or we would have some nailers already put into the wall. But those hanging strips are very important. I don't always refine the exact number until I get the cabinet pretty much built, and then I can get a really good, clean, close number on that. But I know I'm going to be somewhere around 17 by 1¼ inch by 3/4. This can be pine, this can be poplar, or it can be oak. The same to make all the oak. The whole cabinet will be oak all the way down the line. So that gives me my face frame. Pretty straightforward, right? I've got 2 stiles, 2 rails. There's my face frame. I remember back here that I'm going to use pocket joints, so we'll set that up and get that ready to go. For my carcass, which we also call the box, I'm going to need 2 sides. And oh, by the way, there's the stiles and rail material. The oak, 30 inches for the stiles, 13.5 for the rails. And we'll get back here onto the cut list. 2 sides are going to be 11.25 by 30. That's how high the cabinet is. 3/4 inch plywood. That tells me exactly what I'm going to be cutting it out of. I'm going to need a top piece of this cabinet to make the box, and that top is going to be 11.25 by 17 wide by 1/2 inch plywood. We'll be using 1/2 inch plywood for our top. We'll be using 1/2 inch plywood for our bottom. So the top and bottom are the exact same dimensions, and they're going to be dadoed into the 3/4 inch plywood sides to give it nice structure and lots of glue area. One last thing that we're going to also have here is we're going to have a back, and the back is going to be 1/4 inch plywood, and the back will set into rabbets that are cut into the 3/4 inch sides. And then tie to the top and the bottom, and we'll get nails all the way around, glue all the way around, and really going to give you a nice, strong, clean, squared up box. It works out very nicely. Again, I did not get into the particulars of the sizes. I kind of have an idea how big it's going to be, but I will have a better refined idea once I get the sides and the top cut. I can clamp them together, and then I can go ahead and get an exact number for that. Then I will go ahead and fill that in. But I've got it already laid out. I know that's going to be 1/4 inch plywood. So 3/4 inch plywood for my sides, 1/2 inch for my top and bottom, 1/4 inch plywood for my back, and that is going to make everything I need for the carcass. I probably will put 2 shelves in here, but the shelves we can figure those out as we go, because I like to put adjustable shelves in these cabinets. So the shelves can be cut and cleaned up. We'll work on that and make that all come together. So we've got a thumbnail sketch, and then we go to a little bit more of a refined sketch, which was this one, and then off we go to a cut list. And the cut list is where you're going to be at when you're out in the shop. You'll go ahead and you'll start working on these. When you get done with them, just put a line through them. Don't scribble them out. Just put a line through them. That's done, that's done, that's done, all the way down the line. Then you can go back and do a nice clean inventory of all the pieces that you have. Once they're all cut and machined, then you're ready to go ahead into the construction in the construction process.